What's up, you awesome people of the internet? This is Will, also known as Potato Butcher, and welcome to a brand new Advanced Warfare series called Elite Drops. So today we're going to be looking at the Bal 27 Inferno. So what this series is that we go over the stats of the weapon and we compare that to the base weapon. So we're going to be comparing in this episode the Bal 27 base version and also the Inferno together, finding out the differences. And then when we've done that, we're going to then decide, what attachments should we run on this Bal 27 Inferno. And so we're going to do this for each episode. And depending on how well received this is to you guys, the public, they'll come out more frequently if the video goes off, or the series gets off. So if you enjoy the video and you find it useful, hit that like button, guys. It really does help. And so without further me rambling on, let's get into the actual video. Okay, so first of all, and most importantly, let's look at the damage between the two. So the standard Bal, or the base Bal 27, is going to do 34 damage up close, 33, and then 24 at a longer range. If you compare this to the Inferno actually doesn't have any difference. They're both going to do the same amount of damage. So if you're after damage, the Inferno is not going to have that. The Inferno is exactly the same as the base version. So the damage is not a factor. And then if we move on to range again, they're both the same. Both the Bal 27 base version and the Bal 27 Inferno, the 3-shot kill goes up to 5 meters. After 5 meters, you're not going to get a 3-shot kill. Between 5 meters and 30 meters, you're going to have a 4-shot kill. So there's a big difference there. So most gunfights, you're going to be at a 4-shot kill. And then after 30 meters, then it's going to turn into a 5-shot kill. And that's why there's 3 damage numbers earlier. 34, 33, 24, it's because of the ranges. The ranges the numbers start dropping off as you get further away from the enemy. And so range is not a factor when it comes to the Bal 27 Inferno. Okay, so next is rate of fire. Now, I want to say this before we go into the actual numbers. The Bal 27 starts off at a normal fire rate, and then over time the fire rate gets quicker. Some people have forgotten this, some people haven't, but I just wanted to make that to all of you so that you're all aware. So we're going to have 2 numbers here. So at the start of your clip with the Bal 27 base, your rounds per minute is going to be 666. Okay, so it's 666. I don't know how many rounds it is. It might be only 4 rounds. I'm not sure. Then it's going to go up to 857 rounds per minute. So it's going to jump up that much. Okay, that's just on the base Bal. If we have a look at the Inferno starts off at 750. So at 750, you're already going higher than the Bal 27 base. And then, as you start firing the gun more, you go up to 1,000 rounds per minute. 1,000 rounds per minute. So you can see here that the Inferno has a much faster fire rate, which means that you're going to be able to drop people a lot quickly. And so this is where the Inferno excels compared to the base version. Okay, next let's have a look at the magazine. The magazine on both of them, I don't need to really spend much time on this, are 32 rounds. There's no difference between the two, so there's no increase on either side. Okay, next let's have a look at the mobility side of things. So the Bal 27 standard, okay, we're just going to say 0%, alright, just to make things a bit easier. Okay, with the Inferno, it's going to be a plus 30% ADS time, which is a bad thing. The lower the ADS time, the better, because it's quicker to aim down sight. It's going to take you longer to aim down sight with the Bal Inferno. Okay, so that's where the difference is. And so, maybe when we get into the attachments section, you might be drawn to quick draw, because it does actually help the Bal Inferno quite a lot. Okay, next let's have a look at the handling. So the handling is also known as hip spread or hip fire spread, hip fire, whatever you want to class it as, it's that. And so the base Bal 27, we're going to keep that in neutral or 0%. With the Inferno, it's minus 20%. So that means that your crosshairs are going to be smaller, which means if you're hip firing, it's better than the base BAL. And so your hip fire is going to be better, so your crosshairs are smaller. Okay, so that's the minus. So with things like ADS time and hip fire, minus is better and plus is worse. Just bear that in mind. I know it's a little bit confusing, but when you start hearing these stats over and over, you start getting used to it. It confused me at the start. So if you want to hip fire with a BAL 27 Inferno, it's the best one to actually hip fire with. No other BAL variant has better hip fire spread, so this is one for hip firing. Okay, next let's have a look at the recoil. So on the right of your screen right now, you can see that is the base BAL. No foregrip on this one, by the way. Okay, now what I did is I just went up to a wall, shot it from a fair distance, okay, and as you can see on the screen now, there's 4 lines of bullets or paintballs. I did it with paintballs because I thought it'd be easier to understand, and the ones on the right are just the standard BAL. And then if you look on the left, that's the Inferno, and so you can see that the Inferno, even though it doesn't have a penalty to accuracy, the fire rate is what makes it kick more, and so you've got to factor that in mind. Like, there's a lot more kick on the Inferno purely because of the actual fire rate. So there is a difference between the base BAL and the Inferno when it comes to recoil. And honestly, I mean, I know it's only mainly vertical kick, but it's quite a big difference if you look at it properly. There's about maybe 50% more, so you got to take that into account. Okay, so we've just had a look at the stats. Some pluses and negatives. So with that in mind, now we need to look at our actual creator class. Okay, now with the BAL 27 Inferno and the base version, okay, the BAL 27 is an aggressive playstyle. You don't want to be sitting back with the BAL 27. They're going to buff all the other weapons up to the BAL 27's sort of like level. And so when they do that, other assault rifles are going to dominate the BAL 27 at a long range. Whereas the BAL 27 is going to dominate over the other assault rifles at close to medium range. So that's why you need to have an aggressive playstyle with the BAL 27. So if you take that into account, now let's start adding attachments to our gun. So first thing you need to ask yourself is, do I like the iron sights? If you're not sure, play a couple of games, maybe play 3 to 4 actually. Play 3 to 4 games. If you like the iron sights, you can work with them. They're nice and clean, right? You do not need an optical sight on it. If you don't like the iron sights, then you need to put an optical sight on it. Otherwise, you're just going to struggle regardless, okay? So, if you're going to put a sight on it, I recommend 2 sights only, which is the red dot sight and the target enhancer. Okay, now the red dot sight is clear, it's low zoom, so it's good for close quarters, and it's just an accurate one. It's the better one of the 2. If you don't want to use the red dot sight, your target enhancer it's effective. I mean, you can obviously see highlighted enemies, but it's fairly low zoom as well, so you can sort of like get away with using that. I'd strongly recommend the red dot sight over it, but if you find it hard to see people, then use the target enhancer anyway. Things like the hybrid sight, the autofocus sight, the thermal, and the ACOG, you don't want to be using these on the BAL 27. Like I said, the BAL 27 is an aggressive gun. Okay, these sights that I've just said, the hybrid, the autofocus, the thermal, and the ACOG, they're for more medium to long range, and you don't want to be sat at those ranges at all. Okay, you want to be using those kind of things on like some of the longer range ARs and LMGs and things like that. So stay away from those attachments. It's going to make it a lot harder for you to be an aggressive player. Okay, next, laser sight. Laser sight is a really good one for this BAL Inferno. As you saw before, the BAL Inferno has better hip fire accuracy. Okay, and if you throw a laser sight on it, it's going to be even better. Okay, and if you like hip firing in close quarter gunfights, then put this laser sight on. It's going to help you a lot. Next, stock. Stock is one of my personal favourite attachments of all time in any COD. It's not so useful in this one if you're not accurate. But if you can actually be accurate while strafing, stock is a good one. I'd recommend either laser sight or stock. I wouldn't say run laser sight and stock, but I definitely say, you know, one or the other, because stock's going to help you in those close quarter gunfights and also long range ones, because you can maneuver while aiming down sight and shooting. So stock is a good one. Next, tracker. I've not really played around with tracker, but in my mind I can just see how useful it can be if you want to use tracker. If you're moving around and you're shooting someone in a one-on-one gunfight, they go behind cover, and you're trying to figure out if they've gone from that cover or gone around the corner or something like that. With the tracker, you can see exactly what they're doing. So it's really good. It's an offensive tool that you can use and play it to your advantage. Alright, so next, the foregrip attachment. And so what I've done is, obviously I did the test earlier that you've already seen, with no foregrip on the guns, and you saw the wall test, and the Inferno was had a lot more recoil. When you look at this one, the Inferno, which is on the left, there is a massive reduction in recoil, and you can see that the actual bullet pattern, or the spread, is pretty accurate. And when you look at the base barrel as well, it's the same story. There's a lot. The foregrip honestly helps with this gun. With the Inferno, I actually do strongly recommend that you run the foregrip, because it makes the gun more accurate. And so when you go out to like medium ranges and stuff, sorry, I really can't talk. When you go out to like medium ranges and other, like, you know, longer ranges, the foregrip is going to be your best bet. If you want to go medium to long range and have a chance, foregrip is the only way that you can go about it. Okay, next we have got the suppressor or the silencer. Now, this depends on your playstyle. If you like to be stealthy, then obviously throw on the suppressor. But bear in mind this, when you throw on the suppressor, the range, I don't know the exact number, but your range is going to drop. Your range is going to drop, which means instead of having, say, a 4-shot kill up to 30 meters, that could be maybe a 4-shot kill up to 20 or 15 or something like that. Don't know the exact number, so just bear that in mind. But if you're going to be doing stealthy and using the suppressor, don't take them head on. You don't want to be taking people head on, because you're going to be doing less damage over range. Okay? If you want to use the suppressor, hit them from the side, flank them, be stealthy like you would. You don't play it like a normal, you know, like play style. You got to be an aggressive stealth style. I might do a separate video on how to be a proper stealthy, aggressive player, but that's something for another time. So just bear that in mind. If you're using the suppressor, great, but play it like you would be a stealthy ninja. Okay, next, the parabolic microphone. So, the parabolic microphone, it's a good attachment, but only if you use your minimap. Okay, this is the thing. If you look at your minimap constantly, this is a good attachment, especially in games like TDM, where most people run a silencer. Okay, this attachment is perfect for it. Okay, if you don't look at your minimap, what's the point in putting it on? You're not going to have any use out of it. Okay, but this also, it's not always useful, because when you play certain games, some people aren't even using a suppressor. Okay, and if no one on the other team's using a suppressor, then the attachment that you're using is pretty much pointless. Okay, so this is more of a situational one. Perhaps maybe make this as a secondary class, so if everyone is using a suppressor, then you can have a class with this microphone and you can find everyone. Okay, it's about adapting to what the enemy's doing. Next, the quick draw grip. With the Inferno, the quick draw grip isn't necessary, but it helps out a ton. The ADS time on the Inferno is worse than the base version, and so if you throw a quick draw grip on there, that negates it. You don't have to worry about aiming down sight at a slow time. It's fast and it's easy, and you can just have fast reaction times. So if you want to use quick draw, that's great. It's great for snapping onto targets. It's great if you are literally full on aggressive. And so, quick draw grip is really good if you want to just get in there, shoot everyone as soon as you see them, try win as many gunfights as possible. It's a really good attachment. I use it personally myself, so I can recommend it. Next, the grenade launcher. Don't use it. I'm not saying that because I hate the grenade launcher. If you're being aggressive, you haven't got time to stand there firing noob tubes at people. And on top of that, it's harder to hit people if they're near you anyway. Unless obviously you're playing like an objective game mode, that's where it's more useful. If you're playing like, you know, TDM or you're just running around everywhere, the grenade launcher isn't going to be as effective for you. And so that's why I wouldn't waste time on it. It'll probably get you killed more than it would get you kills. And in all honesty, it's just a douchebag thing to use. So that's the grenade launcher out of the way. And lastly but not least, extended mags. Now on the standard BAL, extended mags it's good, okay? It's really good. But on the BAL 27 Inferno, because your fire rate is so much, extended mags is actually not a bad attachment. Like, I run it on some of my classes, because it gives me more time firing at enemies. If I come across a group of enemies, and I take, say, like 2 down, by that time, maybe 2, 3, I have to reload my gun, because it's so fast firing. And then if I have extended mags, and there's, let's say, a 4th, I can at least take that other person out as well. So extended mags is always a good one if you are being aggressive. If you sat back, don't bother using extended mags. You're not going to have people constantly shooting at you. You're not going to be shooting at them. If you're going to have a load of enemies around, if you're going to be within all the enemies and rushing them, extended mags is a good one to pick. Okay, so that is the BAL 27 Inferno, everyone. So, my opinions on the BAL 27 Inferno is I like it. Now, it's not the best gun in the game, by far. It's the best one I have got, but I think there's a few other variants out there that are better than this one. But if you've got this one, it's better than the base version. Okay? The thing with the variants is, if it's got more fire rate or damage or accuracy, that's a good thing. If it's got worse hip fire or worse aim down sight time, it's not so bad, because you can actually negate that. You can actually change the stats by using certain attachments. You can't do that with rapid fire, with fire rate and damage. So just bear that in mind. Now, rating, I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10 for the Elite. Okay, for the Inferno. It's good, but it's a little bit outclassed by a couple of other variants, but it's a strong one. Okay, so thank you very much for watching. If you liked the video and found it really useful, hit that like button, guys. It really does help me, and I hope you enjoyed it, and I shall see you guys in a future video. Bye bye.